mounted her horse, and her skirt lifted slightly. The spoiled heir noticed her red underwear and smirked like a rogue. But then he realized something strange. It was modern underwear. He rushed forward to check, confused by what he saw. This entire world was a setup by his wealthy father. Determined to change his son's arrogant ways, the father hired a production crew. The heir had been sedated with a tranquilizer gun. When he woke up, he found himself living as a slave in a 19th century Russian village. Before he could react, the overseer dragged him out, yelling. He was punished for not preparing a horse's bridle. The whip lashed hard. This was no fake performance. The village was built to replicate life from 200 years ago. Hidden cameras were everywhere, inside apples, tree trunks, haystacks, even animal bones. Every villager was a trained actor, following the director's orders. Even romantic scenes were real to keep the illusion alive. The heir suspected it was a reality show. He told the villagers to stop acting and demanded his phone back. But no one responded. They pretended not to understand. Frustrated, he ran toward the outskirts, but something felt off. There were no cameramen, no signs of filming. Then he saw a real bear, and fear set in. Maybe this wasn't a show. He was captured and sentenced to execution for attempting escape. To make it more convincing, the crew staged a scene where another slave's hand was chopped off. The heir froze in horror. As he was placed on the gallows, he screamed his father's name. The villagers ignored him. Just as the rope tightened, a girl in red rode in on horseback. She was Mary, the landowner's daughter. It was her coming-of-age day, and she pleaded for mercy. The father, doting on his daughter, granted clemency. The heir's life was spared, but he remained a stable hand. Sleeping in the stables, surrounded by the stench of horses, he began to believe he had truly traveled back in time. He resolved to survive and find a way home. But the harsh conditions tested him quickly. The crew watched his every move, even when he went to the bathroom. Days passed with constant beatings from the overseer for laziness or inefficiency. The spoiled heir, once used to commanding others, had never been treated like this. The director decided it was time to introduce the lead actress, Mary. Her task was to win his heart and teach him the meaning of love and responsibility. The heir had a history of shallow flings, discarding girlfriends like worn shoes. His father wanted to change that. One day, Mary pretended to cry, claiming she was being forced to marry an 80-year-old man. The heir, instead of comforting her, suggested marrying him for money and inheritance. The director was speechless. Soon after, the heir stole and devoured a chicken, refusing to share. The crew saw an opportunity to test his conscience. The overseer threatened to whip everyone unless the culprit confessed. If someone admitted it, they'd get 10 lashes. If not, a random person would get 50. The heir stayed silent, and another villager, Blondie, was brutally whipped. Blondie never exposed him. The father grew angry, believing his son was hopeless. He ordered the director to end the project. But before they could wrap it up, another mishap occurred. A girl dismounted a horse, and her modern red underwear showed. The heir noticed immediately. He suspected something and rushed toward her. The crew panicked, thinking their cover was blown. But the quick-thinking girl hid the underwear in the haystack. The heir assumed it was an illusion caused by homesickness. Surprisingly, he apologized to her, his first sincere apology ever. The father, watching, was moved to tears. The girl, Lisa, joked that since he had seen her body, he must marry her. What was meant as a joke, the heir took seriously. From that day, he followed her everywhere. The director adjusted the script, promoting Lisa to the female lead. Mary, still following the plan, staged a dramatic scene, pretending to drown in a river. The heir rescued her, but when it came to intimacy, he walked away. For the first time, he only cared for Lisa. Eventually, Lisa became his girlfriend. To push the story further, the landowner offered the heir freedom and Lisa's hand in marriage if he would take the blame for his son's crime. Reluctantly, the heir agreed. He was whipped 20 times by the law enforcer. Each lash became a painful reminder of his past arrogance. Even though his father orchestrated it, he felt the punishment deeply. But the landowner's son betrayed him, refusing to honor the deal and even spitting in his face. The heir swallowed his pride and did not retaliate. That night, lying beside Lisa, he admitted that the landowner's son reminded him of his old self. The father, watching, realized his son was finally reflecting on his behavior. From then on, the heir worked hard, finishing his tasks early just to spend time with Lisa. They rode boats, shared food, and walked under the stars. He confessed he was a time traveler, explaining his reckless past and lonely childhood. Lisa didn't understand time travel but began to see him differently. To conclude the transformation, the crew staged a Mongolian raid. The invaders demanded the village's most beautiful girl or they would slaughter everyone. A villager tried to fight them but was killed instantly. When Lisa was targeted, all eyes turned to the heir. At first, he walked away. Everyone assumed he was still a coward. But moments later, he charged back on horseback, wielding a wooden stick to protect Lisa. They galloped across the plains, through the forest, and reached a gas station. A sniper's tranquilizer dart took him down. When he woke up, his father told him he had been in a coma for 3 months after a car accident. He assumed the entire journey was just a dream. But the dream had changed him. He was no longer arrogant, but he couldn't forget Lisa. No other woman interested him. One day, he spotted familiar faces, the landowner's son and Mary. They felt sorry for him and revealed the truth. They brought him to the ranch, where Lisa awaited. In the end, the village was repurposed to reform other rebellious kids. They brought him to the ranch, where Lisa